I did not think I was going to be making this video today, but let me tell you guys, it's on the way to work. It's not good, man. There was a whole trail of white smoke behind the back of the car. I couldn't even see my rear view. So I'm thinking the engine might be blown. We're gonna figure it out today though. I might not even have to take it inside, honestly, to figure out what happened, because oil. All right, so there's just oil everywhere. Straight away, I had thoughts about this PCV valve that I replaced, but everything seems to be good unless I switch the routing of these hoses, which I am going to check in a second here. If I got them wrong, then that would cause the PCV to not work how it's supposed to, and then I've heard what can happen is it'll start mixing oil into your intercooler somehow, and that could explain why there's oil coming from the turbo, right? So it's all a big guessing game here, but I'm pretty sure it's something to do back here with the wastegate and the exhaust side of the turbo. I'm not 100%, but when the smoke was billowing out of the hood, it was all coming from right there. It was like that was where the smoke was starting from. So the other thing I know is if I had like cracked piston rings or anything of that, like motor problems, we wouldn't see the oil. It would be leaking internally. So that gives me hope too, but jeez, I don't really know what I'm looking at here, and I'm probably gonna have to do this off camera, but I'm gonna look right in there, like in that crevice. Obviously I'm not gonna be able to get the camera there, but it looks a little wet, and that's the exhaust side of the turbo. I'm just gonna see if it's, I'm gonna start with the simple stuff and work to the more catastrophic stuff, and I'm gonna see if it's like a simple oil hose that's supposed to connect to the turbo that's disconnected. I'm gonna try and look from underneath and see if the turbo is cracked in any way. I really hope it's not, but that would still be better than engine problems. So yeah, let me figure this out. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna just pull it in, get access to some tools and start pulling shit apart, because a couple things I think right now is this front side of the downpipe is drenched, if you couldn't tell. Also, the V-band clamp looks like it's not on properly, right? It looks like good right there how it's supposed to be, and if you look down here, it almost looks like it's not even on the downpipe. So I'm gonna check that. The turbo itself doesn't look wet. Now I don't think the V-band clamp being loose would cause oil, but basically I'm gonna get this pulled off and look at the exhaust side and see if there's a bunch of oil inside the turbo there. Might also look at the intake side over here and check if there's oil in there, although it looks a lot more dry over there. It's really wet, like right here. And then I did just check the diagram for the PCV valve and the catch can. This is all routed properly. I am gonna empty this and see if there is a ton of oil in there, because if this thing's full, then that could mean that oil is getting backed up and somehow it's all getting run through the turbo. I'm not an expert on these things, but then if this was filled up, that would tell us something about the piston rings, I think. That there's oil escape. I don't know exactly, but I'm gonna check all the main stuff. If I still can't figure it out, I'm gonna drop it off at a mechanic. I'll probably drop it off anyway, just so that they can tell me if there's any engine damage or not before I go ahead and replace the turbo. So yeah, let's get cracking. All right, here goes nothing. Fuck, I'm so nervous, dude. It smells like burning oil in here. All right, I'm gonna make this quick. Give me a sec. So I can see it dripping out right where that puddle is. It's coming from that little gap behind the icicle, which is exactly perpendicular or parallel, whichever one, with where the turbo's at behind the motor. So I'm almost 100% positive that's my problem. But in case you guys are confused, what I'm trying to get to the bottom of here, we know the turbo is probably where it's leaking from, but why, right? So that could tell us more about what's going on inside the motor if we figure out why. I don't think we're gonna be able to figure out why, but it's the least we can do. All right, so my ride is here. I'm about to pull it up on the trailer. and I was recommended a Speed Shop MXPI tuning. It's about 3 minutes away. Honestly, perfect opportunity. I'm just gonna drop it off tonight. It's Friday. They're gonna see if they can look at it. If not, then they're gonna have to look at it on Monday and let me know. So either way, I'm gonna have to find a ride to work on Monday. But just over the phone, he's saying it sounds like it's failing turbo too, but they won't know for sure. And they're gonna go ahead and horoscope for me. They're gonna do a compression test. They're gonna check and make sure that the motor is good. Because I told them if it's the turbo, just let me know, and I'll have another turbo to replace it with. So that being said, IS38 or Garrett 2260. They're about the same size, but I think Garrett makes a little bit more boost. So those are my options, but I really need them to tell me if the motor's fried or not before I go ahead and spend all that money on a new turbo. So regardless though, even if they say the motor's fine, it's 92,000. I totally expect the engine to not be able to handle all that power with the Garrett. Maybe not as much with the IS38 because it's a little less boost, but either way, let's get over there and try and figure out what exactly went wrong.
I'm just trying to beat.
Straight back. Alright guys, she is back. It turns out it was actually a little small issue. I'll show you what's up. So as you would have it, the oil catch can was full. And it wasn't full of oil, it was full of water and ice. So what that means is that the oil had nowhere else to go and had no choice but to get backed up to where it came from, go through one of the oil feed lines into the turbo, and the turbo started filling up with oil, which is why I originally thought it was a turbo that got messed up. Turns out it was just something small like that. Now, why would it get frozen in like 2 weeks of use? I have no idea. Like, how would it be full of water? The mechanic says that it's something common on these cars, on the 2.0 turbos, and maybe just turbo cars in general, that there's going to be a lot of moisture in your oil, especially when you live in, you know, sub 32 degree temperatures. You start it up every day. It's frozen overnight, and then it warms up as you start it, and it does that twice a day, right, when you're going to work and when I'm going home from work. And so I just think there was a whole lot of condensation going on before. I'm glad I did the catch can when I did, but yeah, that's what happened. So I'll show you under the hood. The other thing that I noticed when I got home the other day was when this car is warm for a little while, I popped the hood again and it was still steaming from that side of the turbo. So again, I will have to get that clamp tightened up, but that's just all the unburnt oil from the inside of the system from when this backup happened. So this guy right here, like, I'm gonna have to empty this probably about once a week now during the winter just to make sure that everything is full, because that's what was happening. There's no more oil being allowed in here, so I got backed up through here, through the PCV valve, and I'm not sure where the hoses all go, but like I said, it got backed up through the turbo to where it was just sucking in oil and compressing it in my motor, resulting in all the waste smoke out the back. So yeah. So yeah guys, this is super lucky. I definitely thought I was going to need either a new turbo or a new engine, so a couple $1,000s either way. But it turns out it was just a catch can being full and being frozen. So definitely I'm going to make sure to empty that thing like once a week now. I might even install a hose on the bottom of it and route that somewhere, just so I don't even have to worry about emptying it and it being full in the first place. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm probably going to, when it gets warmer out, I'm going to take apart the whole exhaust system and hose it out from the inside, make sure I get all the oil out of there. Same thing under the engine bay. I want to completely clean it. For now though, it's just way too cold to where any sort of cleaning thing that I do is just going to freeze right away. So yeah, pretty much next up on this car, I want to get winter tires down there. I've been talking about this for a couple weeks. That was supposed to be this video, but then, you know, we had this whole scare with the engine. So that's going to be next video. I'm going to do the winter tires, and also it's got to pass emissions, so I'm going to go try that out. The check engine light is not on, so maybe I'll be able to pass it. I'll try it, but if I don't, I've got a few tricks that I'm going to try out. Either way, in Illinois, you have to pass emissions to be able to renew your registration, so I'm going to have to pass it some way. Yeah, tires, emissions, and then after that, I got to get body completely wrapped up on this car. So like I showed you a couple months ago, we have an S3 rear bumper for it. We have the S3/S-Line side skirts, and a few other goodies I want to get put on this car, because in like early mid-March here, I have an appointment lined up to get this car wrapped. So I got to get all the body work done before I get it wrapped, and then I'm gonna get new tints as well because they're peeling up. But yeah, that's pretty much my next plans for this car, so stay tuned, subscribe so you don't miss it, and of course leave a like and comment on this video. It would help me out a lot. I really appreciate it. Let me know when you want to see more of. I've got this car that I've just been like walking around lately. This was originally going to be my like spring summer plan of this year, so I've still got to get this rolling. I've got to find an engine for it, I've got to get a shop, a lift, that type of stuff, but that's all in the making. So again, guys, subscribe, don't miss anything, and yeah, I'll see you guys next Sunday. Stay objective driven.